The strange, the bizarre, the unusual. I like it. The Dibbuk Box. Hello everybody, welcome back to the strange, the bizarre, the unusual. I like it. Today I'm going to go back to an oldie but a goodie. I've done a few attempts on this story, and it was with my previous videos. I've been working to try to improve the quality of my videos and everything and get audio going. Like I said, welcome back to the strange, the bizarre, the unusual. I like it. I'm Roger Hanson, and today, like I said, I'm gonna go back over an old story I did, try to see if it comes out looking better. And I'm also transferring old Facebook notes that I had pulled together and made notes of them and put them on Facebook. I want to transfer them over to video form. So with that said, I'm going to get started with my first one. I better put my glasses on, that way I can see and hopefully I can read better. And like I said, this is the Dibbuk Box Story. It was a note that I took in on August the 2nd of 2013. Here is the story of the haunted wine box, exactly as it appeared on eBay. You form your own opinion. The first buyer, an antique buyer refinisher. Let me see if, yeah, that kind of did a little glitch out. The first buyer, an antique buyer refinisher. All of the events that I am about to set forth in this listing are accurate and may be verified by the winning bidder with the copies of hospital records and sworn affidavits that I am including as part of the sale of the cabinet. During September of 2001, I attended an estate sale in Portland, Oregon. The items liquidated at this sale were from the estate of a woman who had passed away at the age of 103. A granddaughter of the woman told me that her grandmother had been born in Poland, where she grew up, married, raised a family, and lived until she was sent to a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. She was the only member of her family who survived the camp. Her parents, brothers and sister, husband, and 2 sons, and a daughter were all killed. She survived the camp by escaping with some other prisoners and somehow making her way to Spain, where she lived until the end of the war. I was told that she acquired the small wine cabinet listed here in Spain, and it was one of only 3 items that she brought with her when she immigrated to the United States. The other 2 items were a steamer trunk and a sewing box. I purchased the wine cabinet along with the sewing box and some other furniture at the estate sale. After the sale, I was approached by the woman's granddaughter, who said, "I see you got the Dibbuk box." She was referring to the wine cabinet. I asked her what a Dibbuk box was, and she told me that when she was growing up, her grandmother always kept the wine cabinet in her sewing room. It was always shut and set in a place that was out of reach. The grandmother always called it the Dibbuk box. When the girl asked her grandmother what was inside, her grandmother spit 3 times through her fingers and said, "A Dibbuk and Kesselim." The grandmother went on to tell the girl that the wine cabinet was never, ever to be opened. The granddaughter told me that her grandmother had asked that the box be buried with her. However, as such a request was contrary to the rules of the Orthodox Jewish burial, the grandmother's request had not been honored. I asked the granddaughter what a Dibbuk and Kesselim were, but she did not know. I asked if she would like to open it with me. She did not want to open it, as her grandmother had been very emphatic and serious when she instructed her not to do so, and regardless of the reason, she wanted to honor her grandmother's request. I finally ended up offering to let her keep what seemed to me to be a sentimental keepsake. At that point, she was very insistent and said, "No, no, you bought it." I exclaimed that I didn't want my money back, and that it would make me feel better to do what I thought was an act of kindness. She then became somewhat upset. Looking back now, the way she became upset was just plain odd. She raised her voice to me and said, "You bought it. You made a deal." When I tried to speak, she yelled, "We don't want it." She began to cry, asked me to leave, and quickly walked away. I wrote the whole episode off to the stress and grief she must have been experiencing. I took my purchases and politely left. At the time when I bought the cabinet, I owned a small furniture refinishing business. I took the cabinet to my store and put it in the basement workshop, where I intended to refinish it and give it as a gift to my mother. I didn't think anything more about it. I opened my shop for the day and went to run some errands, leaving the young woman who did sales for me in charge. After about a half hour, I got a call on my cell phone. The call was from my salesperson. She was absolutely hysterical and screaming that someone was in the workshop breaking glass and swearing. Furthermore, the intruder had locked the iron security gates and the emergency exit, and she couldn't get out. As I told her to call the police, my cell phone battery went dead. I hit speeds of 100 miles per hour getting back to the shop. When I arrived, I found the gates locked. I went inside and found my employee on the floor in a corner of my office sobbing hysterically. I ran to the basement and went downstairs. At the bottom of the stairs, I was hit by an overpowering, unmistakable odor of cat urine. There had never been any animals kept or found in my shop. The lights didn't work, As I investigated, I found that the reason the lights didn't work also explained sounds of glass breaking. All of the light bulbs in the basement were broken. All 9 incandescent bulbs had been broken in their sockets, and 10 4-foot fluorescent tubes were lying shattered on the floor. I did not find an intruder, however. I should also add that there was only one entrance to the basement. It would have been impossible for anyone to leave without meeting me head on. I went back up to speak with my salesperson, but she had left. She never returned to work after having been with me for 2 years. She refused to discuss the incident to this day. I never thought of relating the event of that day to anything having to do with the cabinet. Then things got worse. As I already indicated, I had decided to give the cabinet to my mother as a birthday gift. About 2 weeks after I made the purchase, I decided to get started refinishing it. I was surprised to find that the cabinet has a unique little mechanism. When you open one of the doors, the mechanism causes the opposite door and the little door below to open at the same time. It is very well made. Inside the cabinet, I found the following items: 1 1928 U.S. wheat penny, 1 1925 U.S. wheat. One 1925 U.S. wheat penny, 1 small lock of blonde hair, bound with a string, 1 small lock of black-brown hair, bound with a string, 1 small granite statue engraved with gilded with Hebrew letters. I have been told that the letters spell out the word Shalom. 1 dried rosebud, 1 golden wine cup, 1 very strange black cast iron candlestick holder with octopus legs. I saved all of the items in a box intended to return them to the estate. The family had refused the items, so they will be included in this sale of the cabinet. After opening the cabinet, I decided not to refinish it. I cleaned it and rubbed it in some lemon oil. It was at this time that I noticed that there was an inscription in Hebrew carved into the back of the cabinet. I have no idea what it says or if it is significant. I have included a picture of the inscription below. On my mother's birthday, October the 28th, 2001, my mother called to tell me that she was going out of town with my sister for 3 days, and we postponed celebrating her birthday together until she returned on October the 31st, 2001. My mother came to my shop. We were going to have lunch together, but before we were going to leave, I gave her the wine cabinet. She seemed to like it. While she examined it, I went to make a phone call. I hadn't been out of sight more than 5 minutes when one of my employees came running into my office saying that something was wrong with my mom. When I went back to see what the matter was, I found my mom sitting in a chair beside the cabinet. Her face had no expression, but tears were streaming down her cheeks. No matter how I tried to get her to respond, she would not. She could not. It turns out that my mother had suffered a stroke. She was taken to the hospital by ambulance. She ended up suffering partial paralysis and losing her ability to speak, and form words. She has since regained the ability to speak. She could understand things being said to her and could respond by pointing to letters of the alphabet to spell out words she wanted to say. When I asked her the following day how she was doing, she teared up and spelled out the words Nogifti. She became even more upset and spelled out the words HATEGIFT. I laughed and told her not to worry. I told her I was sorry she didn't like the cabinet, and that I would get her anything she wanted if she would promise to get well soon. Still, I didn't associate anything that had happened with the cabinet itself or anything paranormal. Frankly, I don't think I ever even used the term paranormal until this last month. I'll try to make this short now. I gave the cabinet to my sister. She kept it for a week, then gave it back. She complained that she couldn't get the doors to stay closed and that they kept coming open. There are no springs in the door mechanisms, or the door mechanism, and I have never found that the door came open. I gave it to my brother and his wife, who kept it for 3 days and then gave it back. My brother said it smelled like jasmine flowers, while his wife insisted that it put out an odor of cat urine. I gave it to my girlfriend, who asked me to sell it for her after only 2 days. I sold it the same day to a nice middle-aged couple. 3 days later, when I came to open the shop for the day, I found the cabinet sitting at the front doors with a note that read, "This has a bad darkness." I had no idea what that meant. Anyway, I ended up taking it home. Then things got even worse. Since the day I brought it home, I began having a strange reoccurring nightmare. Every time I have the horrible dream, it goes something like this. I found myself walking with a friend, usually someone I know well and trust at some point in the dream. I know well and trust at some point in the dream. I find myself looking into the eyes of the person that I am with. It is then that I realize that there is something different. Something evil looking back at me. At that point in my dream, the person I am with changes into what can only be described as the most gruesome, demonic-looking hag that I have ever seen. The hag proceeds then to beat the living tar out of me. I have awakened numerous times to find bruises and marks on myself where I had been hit by the old woman during the previous night. Still, I never related the nightmare to the cabinet, nor do I think that I ever would have. About a month ago, however, my sister and my brother and his wife came over to my house and spent the night. The following morning, during breakfast, my sister complained that she had had a horrible nightmare. She said that she recalled having had it a couple of times before, and went on to describe my nightmare exactly to the last detail. My brother and his wife froze as they listened, and then chimed in that they had both had the exact same dream during the night as well. The hair was standing up on the back of my neck, and still is. As we talked, it became clear that the common denominator was that each of us had had the nightmare during the times that the cabinet was in our respective homes. I called my girlfriend and asked if she could recall having any nightmares recently. She described the same nightmare, same hag, everything. When I asked her if she remembered the date when she had the nightmare, she said she did not. Then I asked if it happened to be the night before she gave me the cabinet back to sell for her. She said, yeah. Hey, how did you know that? Hey, how did you know that? Not now then. Since my family discussion, it seems like all hell is breaking loose. For a week afterward, I started seeing that I can only describe what I can only describe as a shadow thing in my peripheral vision. In fact, numerous visitors to my house have claimed that they have seen these shadow things. I put the cabinet in an outside storage unit and was awakened when the smoke alarm in the unit went off in the middle of the night. When I went to see what was burning, I opened the door and didn't see any smoke. However, I did get hit with the smell of cat urine. When I went back inside, the smell was there in my house. I do not own a cat, and I never have. All in capital letters. I went back outside and grabbed the cabinet. I brought it back inside and tried to research it on the internet. While I was surfing the net, I fell asleep and once again had the same freaking nightmare. I woke up at around 4:30 a.m. when it felt and smelled like someone was breathing on my neck. To find that my house now smelled like jasmine flowers, and just in time to see a huge shadow thing go loping down the hall away from me. I would destroy this thing in a second, except I really don't have any understanding of what I may or may not be dealing with. I am afraid, and I do mean afraid, that if I destroy the cabinet, whatever it is that seems to have come with the cabinet may just stay here with me. I have been told that there are people who shop on eBay that understand these kinds of things, and specifically look for these kinds of items. If you are one of these people, please buy this cabinet and do whatever you do with a thing like this. Help me. You can see that I have no reserve price or minimum bid. If I can make things any easier, let me know, and I will do everything within my ability. One more note. On the same day my mom had her stroke, the lease to my store was summarily terminated without cause. The measurements are 12.5 inches by 7.5 inches by 16.25 inches. All of the items that I originally found inside the cabinet are included in the sale and will be delivered with the cabinet, all in capital letters. On June 12th, 03 at 12:15:30 PDT, seller added the following information. There is no way that I can respond to all of the emails I've received since I put this thing online. I'll try now to update and answer the most common questions I've been receiving. 1. No, I am not religious. 2. No, I do not wish to have or participate in any sort of exorcism or case study or photo sessions at my home. 3. No, I will not sell any of the individual pieces which were originally found separate from the other pieces and the cabinet. 4. No, I do not speak Hebrew, nor do I know what the word Kesselim means. I don't know what the word is even, or a Hebrew word. Okay, I don't know that the word is even or a Hebrew word. I'm guessing it says, I don't even know if the word is even a Hebrew word. And then 5. At the beginning of the auction, I have decided to take an opportunity to speak with the winning bidder for 2 reasons. A. To make sure that the winning bidder is a serious adult who has employed some valid reasoning skills in making the decision to accept whatever this is. I will not be judgmental. Do whatever you want or need after the sale. And then B. To offer full details of the event that have transpired after I have carried out those responsibilities, and upon payment I will have the cabinet and its contents delivered by U.S. mail, FedEx, or UPS to the winning bidder. At that point, I will have no further involvement with the matter in any way. 6. To all of you who have offered to pray, I may not be religious, but I am certainly open to the possibilities. No matter what your religion might be, thank you. And thank you is in capital letters with an exclamation point. On June 14th of 03 at 5:21 or 26 PDT, seller added the following information. Here is another update for everyone following this listing. No, I will not circumvent or make any deals outside of eBay, even for more money than the final auction price. And that's all in capital letters. Even for more money than the final auction price, with 3 exclamation points, all in capital letters. If you want to win the auction and have the kind of money some of you are offering, there shouldn't be any reason why you cannot supply price. You cannot simply place your bid in an open, honest fashion. I'm sure you can understand why I might be suspicious. And then also, for those of you wanting to know if I am still experiencing anything out of the ordinary, I thought everything was going okay until I got home on Friday, the 13th of June, and found that the fish in my freshwater aquarium, all 10, were dead. Okay, that brings me to the end of that reading. And like I said, I'm getting used to using hotkeys and working with my video and audio to where I can use the studio mode and then switch back to the regular ways. And I'm also trying to use text more, and it's getting kind of interesting. So with that, I am going to get off of here and say thank you for listening. The strange, the bizarre, the unusual, I like it. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, share, make comments. We love feedback.